Welcome to Experiments in Happiness with Michelle Lemus, the podcast for high achieving women who've checked all the boxes but still feel something's missing.
There's a moment I notice again and again. It happens right before someone almost speaks up, right before they almost share something, right before they almost raise their hand, hit publish, send the message, say the thing. There's a pause. And then they say something like, let me think about it a little more. I just want to clean it up first. I want to make sure I say it the right way. I'm not ready yet. And the moment passes, not because they didn't care, but because they cared so much they didn't want to get it wrong. This episode is about that pause, that moment where visibility is right there and perfection quietly pulls you back. Because many of us don't avoid being seen, we avoid being seen unfinished. We've absorbed the idea, often without realizing it, that visibility is something you earn after you've arrived, after you've healed, after you've processed, after you've tied it up with a bow, after you can explain your story clearly, calmly, without emotion sneaking in. So we wait. We wait until we feel ready, until we feel confident, until we feel articulate, until we feel like we won't regret what we say later. And what we call waiting for the right moment is often just waiting to feel safe enough to be imperfect in public. But here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough. That moment rarely comes because perfection doesn't create safety. It postpones exposure, and postponing exposure comes with a cost. The space we hide in most often isn't the beginning, and it isn't the end. It's the almost ready place. The place where things are mostly figured out, but not quite. Where you've grown, but you're still growing. Where you understand more than you used to, but not enough to feel authoritative. Where you're clearer, but not certain. That space is uncomfortable because it doesn't come with a clean identity. You can't say, this is who I am now. You can't point to results yet. You can't guarantee the ending. And for people who've built their sense of safety on competence, that can feel unbearable, especially for high achieving women. Many of us learned early that being capable was protective, that knowing the answer kept us safe, that being prepared meant being respected. That clarity equaled credibility. So the idea of being seen before we have it all figured out doesn't just feel vulnerable, it feels irresponsible. Like we're breaking some unspoken rule, like we're showing up without our credentials. And so we wait, we polish, we refine. We rewrite, we rehearse conversations in our head instead of having them. We sit on ideas for years. We hold stories hostage until they're emotionally neutral. We think we're being careful, but often we're just staying hidden, not because we're dishonest, but because we've confused perfection with safety. Most people think they're afraid of being judged, but that's not the deepest fear. The deeper fear is being seen and then changing. Being seen in one version and then evolving into another, being misunderstood, being inconsistent, being asked, but I thought you said. Perfection feels like protection against that. If we wait until we're certain, maybe we won't contradict ourselves later. If we wait until it's polished, maybe we won't have to explain. If we wait until it's resolved, maybe we won't have to feel exposed. But that strategy comes at a cost. Because life doesn't actually happen once things are perfect. It happens while things are unfolding. And when you refuse to be seen until you're finished, you miss the very connections that make the process bearable. From a nervous system perspective, perfection before visibility makes sense. Being seen activates vulnerability. Vulnerability activates uncertainty. Uncertainty activates threat. So the system says, let's wait until this is airtight. But here's what your nervous system doesn't know yet. Being seen in small, honest doses actually creates safety, not danger. When you let yourself be visible without fixing, explaining, or performing, your system learns something new. I can be real and still be okay. I can be unfinished and still belong. I don't have to resolve everything to be accepted. That learning doesn't happen in isolation. It happens through experience. And the longer you wait for perfection, the longer your system goes without that evidence. So let's reframe something important. The messy, imperfect, in progress version of you is not a liability. It's not unprofessional. It's not irresponsible. It's not weak. It's transitional. And transition is not failure. It's integration. It's where values settle, where truth clarifies, where old identities loosen and new ones begin to take shape. You're not lost in this space. You're becoming. And being seen doesn't mean exposing everything. It doesn't mean oversharing. It doesn't mean turning pain into content or processing in public. Being seen can be incredibly small. It can look like saying, I'm still figuring this out without apologizing, admitting you don't have an answer yet, and not rushing to fill the silence. Sharing what you're learning, not what you've mastered. Letting someone witness your uncertainty without trying to manage their reaction, showing up without pretending you're fine when you're not. Being seen doesn't mean being exposed. It means being unhidden, and that distinction matters because exposure feels unsafe, but unhidden feels relieving. Courage doesn't come from pressure, it comes from practice. So instead of asking yourself to be brave in a big way, I want to invite you into something much gentler. This week, choose one small way to be visible on your terms. One person, one space, one moment. No fixing, no justifying, no need to resolve anything. That might look like saying, I'm in a transition and taking it day by day. Posting something from where you are, not where you think you should be. Admitting uncertainty without explaining it away. Letting someone know you don't have it figured out yet, and staying present afterward. Your only job is to notice what your body feels like before, what actually happens, how it feels afterward. No outcome goals, no performance review, just data. Most people expect judgment, awkwardness, rejection. What usually happens instead is relief, softer connection, a sense of, oh, I don't have to hold this alone. And even if no one responds the way you hoped, you still gain something essential: integrity with yourself, because you stopped hiding. And I want to speak directly to the woman who feels exposed just listening to this. If you're waiting to be perfect before you let yourself be seen, hear this. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're not weak. You're protecting something tender. But you don't need to be polished to be worthy of connection. You don't need certainty to be allowed space. And the courage to be seen doesn't come from having it all figured out. It comes from trusting yourself enough to show up anyway. You don't need to rush to the other side. You don't need to clean this up. You're allowed to exist as you are, unfinished, evolving, human. So we'll keep experimenting. Because happiness isn't found in presenting a perfect version of yourself. It's found in letting yourself be seen while you're still becoming.
Thanks for listening to Experiments in Happiness. You can find more tools and resources at experimentsinhappiness.com.